Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Funky Punch at Sunday Brunch Podcast. Sorry for starting a little bit late. We were having some YouTube issues and other things, so I was trying to work those out before we got started. But here I am right now, and I believe we are ready to get grooving. How y'all doing today? We're back here again looking at video games and their genres and subgenres. And we're still in the action game genre. So let's do a quick recap of the action game genre, which is action games emphasize physical challenges that require hand-eye coordination and motor skills to overcome. They center around the player, who is in control of most of the action. Most of the earliest video games were considered action games. Today, it is still a vast genre covering all games that involve physical challenges. Action games are classified by many subgenres. Platform games and fighting games are among the best-known subgenres, while shooter games become and continue to be one of the dominant genres in video gaming since the 1990s. Action games usually involve elements of Twitch gameplay. Twitch gameplay is a type of video gameplay scenario that tests your response time. I understand now. All right. And then, of course, the subgenres we've already reviewed. And if you want to go re-review those, you can go check out the last couple of podcasts. But those subgenres are the platform games or platformers, shooter games or just shooters, fighting games, beat 'em ups, stealth games, and survival games. Absolutely. I was just like, Twitch? What do you mean Twitch games? Twitch is where I'm streaming right now. But all right. So first up for today of the last two things in the action genre is the Battle Royale game. So, a Battle Royale game is an online multiplayer video game genre that blends the survival, exploration, and scavenging elements of a survival game with last man standing gameplay. Battle Royale games involve dozens to hundreds of players who start with minimal equipment and then must eliminate all other opponents while avoiding being trapped outside of a shrinking safe zone, with the winner being the last player or team left alive. The name of the genre is taken from the 2000 Japanese film Battle Royale, which itself is based on the novel of the same name, which presents a similar theme of a last man standing competition in a shrinking play zone. The genre's origins arose from mods for larger scale online survival games like Minecraft and Arma 2 back in the early 2010s. By the end of the decade, the genre had become a cultural phenomenon with standalone games such as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Fortnite Battle Royale, Apex Legends, and Call of Duty Warzone. Each having received tens of millions of players within months of their release. So, the concept for Battle Royale games, which is basically being played between many individual players, pairs of 2 players, or a number of small squads, which is typically between 3 to 5 players. In each match, the goal is to be the last player or team standing by eliminating all other opponents. A match starts by placing the player characters into a large map space, typically by having all players skydive from a large aircraft within a brief time limit. The map may have random distribution or allow players to have landmarks on the map, such as within buildings in ghost towns. Players need to search the map for these items while avoiding being killed by other players who cannot be visually marked or distinguishable either on screen or on the map, requiring the player to solely use their own eyes and ears to deduce their positions. Equipment from eliminated players can usually be looted as well. These games often include some mechanic to push opponents closer together as the game progresses, usually taking the form of gradually shrinking safe zones, with players outside of the zone eventually being killed. Typically, Battle Royale contestants are only given 1 life to play. Any players who die are not allowed to respawn. Games with team support may allow players to enter a temporary near-death state once health is depleted, giving allies the opportunity to revive them before they give out or are finished off by an opponent. The match is over when only one player or team remains. And the game typically provides some type of reward, such as in-game currency used for cosmetic items, to all players based on how long they survived. The random nature of starting points, item placement, and safe area reduction enables the Battle Royale genre to challenge players to think and react quickly and improve strategies throughout the match as to be the last man or team standing. In addition to standalone games, the Battle Royale concept may also be present as one of the many game modes within a larger game, or may be applied as a user-created mod that is created for another game. There are various modifications that can be implemented atop of the fundamentals of a Battle Royale. For example, Fortnite introduced a temporary mode in an event which is 50 versus 50 player mode in its Battle Royale free-to-play game. Players are assigned to one of two teams and work with their teammates to collect resources and weapons towards constructing fortifications as the safe area of the game shrinks down, with the goal to eliminate all the players on the other team. So, let's look at the history of a Battle Royale. Since Battle Royales really just kind of blew up in the last 11 years, to be honest. So, formulative elements of the Battle Royale genre had existed prior to the 2010s. Excuse me. Gameplay modes featuring last man standing rules has been a frequent staple of multiplayer online action games, though generally with fewer total players. This has been seen as early as into the 1990s with Bomberman, which introduced multiplayer game modes with all players starting with the same minimal abilities, who then collect power-ups and fight until the last player was left standing. The elements of scavenging and surviving on large open-world maps were popularized through survival games. And let's see, the 2000 Japanese film Battle Royale, along with Koshin Takami's earlier 1999 novel of the same name and its 2000 manga adaptation, set out the basic rules of the genre, including players being forced to kill each other until there is a single survivor, taking place on a shrinking map, and the need to scavenge for weapons and items. It soon inspired a wave of Battle Royale-themed Japanese manga and anime, such as Gantz, Feature Diary, and Batum. And then the Battle Royale formula eventually appeared in the Hunger Games franchise. Fictional Battle Royale video games were depicted in Batum and in the Phantom Bullet, or Gun Gale Online, arc of the light novel series for Sword Art Online as the Battle of Bullets tournament. Initial attempts at adapting the Battle Royale formula into video games came in the form of Japanese visual novel games that focus on storytelling and puzzle solving, such as Higurashi When They Cry, Zero Escape, and Danganronpa. However, these visual novel games are distinct from the genre that would later be known as the Battle Royale games, which emerged from Western developers later adapted the Battle Royale formula into a shooter game format. So let's look at early mods and games from 2012 to 2016. Shortly after the release of the 2012 film The Hunger Games, which had a similar premise to the earlier film Battle Royale, a server plugin named Hunger Games, later changed to Survival Games, was developed for Minecraft. Survival Games takes inspiration from the film, initially placing players at the center of the map near a set of equipment chests. When the game commences, players can compete over the central resource or spread out to find items stored in chests scattered around the play area. Players are killed or eliminated, and the last surviving player wins the match. In DayZ, which is a mod for Arma 2, which was released in August of 2012, players struggle alongside or against each other to obtain basic necessities to continue living in a persistent sandbox filled with various dangers. The mod was designed to include player versus player encounters, but generally these events were infrequent due to the size of the game's map and the persistence of the game world. This led to the development of game mods that sacrificed DayZ open-endedness in favor of focusing on more frequent hostile interactions between players to determine an eventual winner. The most influential Battle Royale mod was created by Brendan Green, known by his online alias Player Unknown, whose Battle Royale mod of DayZ first released in 2013. This mod was directly inspired by Battle Royale. In contrast to Hunger Games-inspired mods, in Green's mod, weapons were scattered randomly around the map. Green recreated this mod for Arma 3 in 2014. Green continued to adopt his format as a consultant for H1Z1, King of the Kill, before becoming the creative developer at Blue Hill of a standalone game representing his vision of a Battle Royale genre, which would later be released as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Let's see. Games from other developers took inspiration from highly played Battle Royale style mods, as well as the popularity of the Hunger Games film series. Ark Survival Evolved by Studio Wildcard introduced its Survival of the Fittest mode in July of 2015. Which is geared to be used for esports tournaments. This mode was temporarily broken off as its own free-to-play game during 2016 before the developers opted to merge it back to the main game for ease of maintenance of the overall game. In 2016, a Battle Royale mobile game, Batum Online, based on the 2009 manga Batum, was developed and released in Japan. Despite some initial success on the Japanese mobile charts, Batum Online was ultimately a commercial failure in Japan. If you're curious about what Batum it is BTOOOM. Batum. So, formation of standalone games 2017 to 2018. While formative elements of the Battle Royale genre had been established before 2017, the genre was defined and grew out from two principal titles through 2017 and 2018. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which soon inspired Fortnite. Both games drew tens of millions of players in short periods of time, proving them as commercial successes and led to future growth after 2018. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was created by Brendan Green, its title based on his online alias, PlayerUnknown. The game was based on his previous Battle Royale mod for Arma 2 and DayZ, first released in 2013. Building on his earlier work, Green went to work at Blue Hill in South Korea, becoming the creative developer of a standalone game representing his vision of the Battle Royale genre. While Battlegrounds was not the first Battle Royale game, its release to early access in March of 2017 drew a great deal of attention, selling over 20 million copies by the end of the year, and is considered the defining game of the genre. In September of 2017, the game broke the previous record for the highest number of concurrent players on Steam, with over 1.3 million users playing the game simultaneously. Battlegrounds' explosive growth and how it established the Battle Royale genre was considered one of the top trends in the video game industry of 2017. Battlegrounds' popularity created a new interest in the Battle Royale genre. Numerous games that copy the fundamental gameplay of Battlegrounds appeared in China shortly after Battlegrounds' release. See, I enjoyed H1Z1 a lot more than I enjoyed Battlegrounds. I don't own Battlegrounds, but I've watched people play Battlegrounds, and I've watched people play H1Z1, and I've played H1Z1 myself. I actually enjoy the style and the gameplay and the feel of H1Z1 more than I enjoy Battlegrounds, personally. So it was kind of sad because H1Z1's now essentially dead. Like, before you get into a match, there'd be like 120, 150 people you're competing against. Now, and the last time I tried it, which was like a year or two ago, there were only like, you could barely get into a match with like 30 people. Oh well. Epic Games had released Fortnite, a cooperative survival game, into early access near the release of Battlegrounds. Epic saw the potential to create their own Battle Royale mode, and by September of 2017, released the free-to-play Fortnite Battle Royale, which combines some of the survival elements and mechanics from the main Fortnite game within the Battle Royale gameplay concept. The game saw similar player counts as Battlegrounds, with 20 million unique players reported by Epic Games by November of 2017. Bluehole expressed concern at this move, less due to it being a clone of Battlegrounds, but more so that they had been working with Epic Games for technical support of the Unreal Engine and Battlegrounds, and thus they were worried that Fortnite may be able to include planned features to their Battle Royale mode before they could be released in Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds developer PUBG Corporation filed a lawsuit against Epic in South Korea in January 2018, claiming Fortnite Battle Royale infringements on Battle Royale copyrights. Market observers predicted that there would be little likelihood of Bluehole winning the case, as it would be difficult to establish the originality of PUBG in court due to itself being derived from Battle Royale. By the end of June 2018, the lawsuit had been closed by PUBG under undisclosed reasons. In 2018, Fortnite Battle Royale rivaled Battlegrounds in player numbers and surpassed it in revenue, which was attributed to its free-to-play business model and cross-platform support, as well as its accessibility to casual players. Battlegrounds creator Brendan Green credited it with further growing the Battle Royale genre. Its mainstream publicity further increased following a stream by Tyler Ninja Blevins with Drake, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Travis Scott, which set a Twitch record for concurrent viewership. It accumulated a total player base of 45 million in January and 3.4 million concurrent players in February. Polygon labeled it the biggest game of 2018 and a genuine cultural phenomenon, with everyone from NFL players to famous actors playing it, including Red Sox player Xander Bogaerts and Bayern Munich's youth team borrowing celebrations from the game. In Asia, however, PUBG remains the most popular Battle Royale game. Other popular Battle Royale games released in 2017, inspired by the success of PUBG, includes two NetEase titles, Rules of Survival and mobile game Knives Out, and the mobile game Garena Free Fire by Garena. Each of these games have received hundreds of millions of players, mostly in Asia, by 2018. So then looking at the last 3 years, 2018 to present, with the success of Battle Royale, Battlegrounds, and Fortnite, the Battle Royale genre expanded greatly. Major publishers, including EA, Activision, and Ubisoft, acknowledged the impact of the growing genre and impact on their future plans. Activision's Call of Duty series features a Battle Royale mode titled Blackout in its 2018 installment COD Black Ops 4, as does EA's Battlefield 5. Other established games added Battle Royale-inspired game modes and updates, such as Grand Theft Auto Online, Paladins, Dota 2, Battle Right, and Counter-Strike CSGO. In February 2019, EA released the free-to-play Apex Legends, which exceeded 50 million player accounts within a single month. The second main Battle Royale installment in the Call of Duty franchise, titled Call of Duty Warzone, was released in March of 2020 as a part of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare video game, but does not require purchase of it. The game reached more than 50 million players in its first month of release. The Battle Royale approach has been used in games from genres not normally associated with shooter games. Tetris 99 is a 2019 game released by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch that has 99 players simultaneously competing in a game of Tetris. Players can direct attacks on other players for each line that they complete, attempting to remain the last one standing. Blizzard added a Battle Royale-inspired Battlegrounds mode to its digital card game Hearthstone, where 8 players vie to win over the others during several rounds of drafting new cards and fighting in one-on-one events. The racing game Forza Horizon 4 from Playground Games added a Battle Royale mode called The Eliminator, where players all start with the same car but can gain upgrades by beating other players and discovering drops around the map. As of December 2019, dozens of Battle Royale games have debuted, but similar to the MOBA genre, only 2 or 3 titles have maintained mainstream popularity at the same time. Other games and Battle Royale modes have had briefly become popular, before their concurrent player count dropped and players returned to Fortnite or Battlegrounds. Apex Legends was the year's only new successful Battle Royale game. In contrast to other multiplayer games, the large number of players typically involved in Battle Royale games generally require a large enough concurrent player base for matchmaking in a reasonable amount of time. The culling by Xaviant Studios was released in early access in 2016 and was designed to be a streaming-friendly Battle Royale mode for 16 players. However, following the release of Battlegrounds, the culling lost most of its player base, and a few months after releasing the full version of the game, Xaviant announced that they were ending further development on it to move to other projects. I actually own the culling, and I was kind of excited to eventually play it, but, well, it died before it even could try, which is a shame, but... Let's see. Radical Heights by Boss Key Productions was launched in April of 2018, but within 2 weeks had lost 80% of its player base. SOS, a Battle Royale game released by Outpost Games in December 2017, had its player count drop into double digits by May of 2018, leading Outpost to announce the game's closure by November. While several major Battle Royale announcements occurred at E3 in 2018, only Fallout 76's Battle Royale mode appeared at the trade show in 2016. The Chinese government, through its Audio and Video and Numeral Publishing Association, stated in October of 2017 that it will discourage citizens from playing Battle Royale games as they deem them too violent, which deviates from the values of socialism and is deemed harmful to young consumers, as translated by Bloomberg. Gaming publications in the West speculated that this would make it difficult or impossible to publish Battle Royale within the country. In November 2017, PUBG Corporation announced its partnership with Tencent to publish the game in China, making some changes to the game to make sure they accord with socialist core values. Chinese traditional culture and moral rules satisfy Chinese regulation and censors. However, during mid-2018, the Chinese government revamped how it reviewed and classified games that are published in China. And by December 2018, after the formation of the new Online Ethics Review Committee, several Battle Royale titles, including Fortnite and PUBG, were listed as prohibited and must be withdrawn from play. Despite the concern that PUBG Corporation and Tencent were taking with Chinese release, many clones of Battlegrounds have been released in China and created a new genre called Chicken Eating Game, named based on the congratulatory line to the last player standing in Battleground, which is winner, winner, chicken dinner. So yeah, the Battle Royale game. Like, the Battle Royale genre legitimately took everything by storm. Like, I witnessed its rise in popularity, and the entire time I'm just like, it's fun to watch for a little bit, but like, when all of the content creators suddenly switched to just playing H1Z1 and then immediately jump ship to PUBG and then immediately jump ship to Fortnite and then immediately jump ship to Apex Legends, it's just like, it's cool for, like, a video, but, like, I don't know. To me, watching just people play these games over and over and over and over is just, like, sure, it's like, but it's a different game each time. You got different people. They're going to find different items. They're going to go to different places. It's like, well, not really, you know? There are certain weapons that people will always get in a Battlegrounds game or in a Battle Royale game that they're like, this is the best weapon combo to have. And that's what they're going to go for. And it's like, this is a very good defensible location. I'm always going to go for it. The games become incredibly repetitive, actually. And then you just... I don't know. I can understand its appeal, but at the same time, I don't understand its popularity. But I digress. I think if a Battle Royale game got released last year it would have just blown everything away. But that's just me. Anyway, moving on to the rhythm game, which is the last subgenre within the action game genre. So rhythm game, or rhythm action, is a genre of music-themed action video games that challenges a player's sense of rhythm. Games in the genre typically focus on dance or the simulated performance of musical instruments and require players to press buttons in a sequence dictated on the screen. Many rhythm games include multiplayer modes in which players compete for the highest score or cooperate as a simulated musical ensemble. While conventional game controllers may be used as input devices, rhythm games often feature novel game controllers that emulate musical instruments. Certain dance-based games require the player to physically dance on a mat, with pressure-sensitive pads acting as the input device. The 1996 title Parappa the Rapper has been deemed the first influential rhythm game, whose basic template formed the core subsequent games in the genre. In 1997, Konami's Beat Mania sparked an emergent market for rhythm games in Japan. The company's music division, Bemani released a series of music-based games over the next several years. The most successful of these were the 1998 dance mat game Dance Dance Revolution, which was the only Bemani title to achieve large-scale success outside Japan and would see numerous imitations of the game from other publishers. Other Japanese games, particularly Guitar Freaks, led to the development of Guitar Hero and Rock Band series that use instrument-shaped controllers to mimic the playing of an actual instrument. Spurred by the inclusion of popular rock music, the two series revitalized the rhythm genre in the Western market, significantly expanded the console video game market and its demographics. The game provided a new source of revenue for the artists whose musics appeared on the soundtrack. The later release of Rock Band 3, as well as the even later Rocksmith, would allow players to play the songs using a real electric guitar. By 2008, rhythm games were considered to be one of the most popular video game genres, behind other action games. However, by 2009, the market was saturated by spin-offs from the core titles, which led to a nearly 50% drop in revenue from music game publishers. Within a few years, both series announced that they would be taking a hiatus from future titles. Despite these setbacks, the rhythm game market continues to expand, introducing a number of dance-based games like Ubisoft's Just Dance and Harmonix's Dance Central that incorporates the use of motion controls and camera-based controls like the Kinect. Existing games also continue to thrive on new business models, such as the reliance of DLC to provide songs to players. The introduction of the new generation of console hardware has also spurred return of Activision's Guitar Hero and Harmonix's Rock Band titles in the late 2015. So, rhythm game or rhythm action is a subgenre of action game that challenges the sense of rhythm. The genre includes dance games such as DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, and music-based games such as Donkey Konga and Guitar Hero. Games in the genre challenge the player to press buttons at precise times. The screen shows which button the player is required to press, and the game awards points for both accuracy and synchronization with the beat. The game also includes games that the genre also includes games that measure rhythm and pitch in order to test a player's singing ability, and games that challenge the player to control their volume by measuring how hard they press each button. While songs can be sight-read, players usually practice to master more difficult songs and settings. Certain rhythm games offer a challenge similar to that of Simon Says, and that the player must watch, remember, and repeat complex sequences of button presses. Rhythm action can take a mini-game format, with some games blending rhythm with other genres or entirely comprising mini-game collections. In some rhythm games, the screen displays an avatar who performs in reaction to the player's controller inputs. However, these graphical responses are usually in the background, and the avatar is more important to spectators than to the players. In single-player modes, the player's avatar competes against a computer-controlled opponent, while multiplayer modes allow two player-controlled avatars to compete head-to-head. The popularity of rhythm game has created a market for specialty input devices. These include controllers that emulate musical instruments such as guitars, drums, or maracas. A dance pad for use in dancing games requires the player to step on pressure-sensitive pads. However, most rhythm games also support more conventional input devices, such as control pads. So let's look at the history. With the origin and popularity in Japan from the 1970s until the 2000s. So, in the early 1970s, Casco, or Kansai Saiki Saisakusho, created a rhythm-based electromechanical arcade game designed by Kenzo Furukawa and produced by Kenji Nagata. According to Nagata, it was Furukawa's idea for a game where you lift girls' skirts in times to some rhythm. Inspired by the 1969 Japanese Omoretsu commercials, the arcade game was released in Japan. Arcades in Japan are called game centers, or simply known as gasen. An early rhythm-based electronic game was the handheld game Simon, created in 1978 by Ralph Baer and Howard Morrison. The game used the call-and-response mechanic in which the players take turns repeating increasingly difficult sequence of button presses. See, I had an action rhythm game called Bop It. You had to bop it, twist it, or pull it. Anyway, Human Entertainment's Dance Aerobics was an early rhythm-based video game released in 1987 and allowed players to create music by stepping on Nintendo's PowerPad, peripheral for the NES video game console. The 1996 title Parappa the Rapper had been credited as the first true rhythm game and as one of the first music-based games in general. It requires players to press buttons in the order that they appeared on the screen, a basic mechanic that formed the core of future rhythm games. The success of Parappa the Rapper sparked the popularity of the music game genre. In 1997, Konami released the DJ-themed rhythm game Beat Mania in Japanese arcades. Its arcade cabinet features buttons similar to those of a musical keyboard and a rubber pad that emulates a vinyl-shaped controller. And 1998's Poppin' Music, a game similar to Beat Mania, in which multiple color buttons must be pressed. While the Guitar Freaks franchise continues to receive new arcade releases in Japan, it was never strongly marketed outside of the country. This allowed Red Octane and Harmonix to capitalize on the formula in 2005 with a Western-targeted Guitar Hero. I feel like I jumped somewhere. Oh well. In general, few Japanese arcade rhythm games were exported abroad because of the cost of producing the peripherals and the resulting increases in retail prices. 1999 Bemani title Drum Mania featured a drum kit controller and could be linked with Guitar Freaks for simulated jam sessions. Similarly, this concept was later appropriated by Harmonix for the game Rock Band. So basically, what we've learned here is that Rock Band and Guitar Hero are complete and utter knockoffs of Japanese games. Like, 100% ripped off, stolen, and repurposed for their own devices. Not surprising. DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, was released in 1998, which is a rhythm game in which players dance on pressure-sensitive pads in an order dictated by on-screen instructions. The game was highly successful both in and outside Japan, unlike games such as Guitar Freaks, Drum Mania, and Beat Mania, though the latter had some success in Europe. Released the same year, Enix's Bust a Groove features a similar focus on dancing but employs a more conventional input method. The game contains competitive one-on-one battles and grants the player more freedom than typical rhythm games. Nana On Shah, the creators of Parappa the Rapper, released Vibe Ribbon in 1999. It eschews instrument-shaped controllers. Instead, players maneuver the protagonist through an obstacle course by pressing buttons at correct times. The game's levels are generated by the background music, which players may change by inserting audio CDs. While it was praised for its unique style and artistry, Vibe Ribbon's simple vector graphics proved difficult to market, and the game was never released in North America. Sega's Samba de Amigo, released in arcades in 1999 and on the Dreamcast in 2000. It features maraca-shaped, motion-sensitive controllers. The game allows for two-player gameplay, provides a spectacle for onlookers, and allows players to socialize while gaming. In 2000, Taiko no Tatsujin combined traditional Japanese drums with contemporary pop music and became highly successful in Japanese arcades. I've actually sent you some videos of people playing the game when it was released in the West. So the game was later released on consoles in the West as Taiko Drum Master, and the franchise continues to receive new installments in Japan. Gitaru Man features a guitar-playing protagonist 4 years before the release of Guitar Hero, that the game enjoyed a conventional rather than guitar-shaped controller. So popularity in the West, 2001 to 2004. Harmonix was formed in 1995 from a computer music group at MIT. Beginning in 1998, the computer developed music games inspired by Parappa the Rapper. In 2001, the company released Frequency, which puts the player in control of multiple instrument tracks. Ryan Davis of GameSpot wrote that the game provides a greater sense of creative freedom than earlier rhythm titles. Frequency was critically acclaimed, however, marketing was made difficult by the game's abstract style, which removed the player's ability to perform for onlookers. In 2003, Harmonix followed up Frequency with a similar Amplitude. The game later released a more socially driven karaoke-themed game called Karaoke Revolution. Donkey Konga, a GameCube title developed by Namco and released in 2003, achieved widespread success by leveraging Nintendo's Donkey Kong brand. So, peripheral-based games, which was popular from 2005 to 2013. In 2005, Gitaru Man's creator Kaiichi Yano released Osu Tatake Odan, a rhythm game for the Nintendo DS that utilizes the handheld's touchscreen features. It became a highly demanded import title, which led to the release of an altered version of the game in the West, Elite Beat Agents, and a sequel in Japan. Also in 2005, Harmonix and the small publisher Red Octane released Guitar Hero, a game inspired by Bimani's Guitar Freaks. However, instead of the Japanese pop that comprises the earlier soundtracks, Guitar Hero focuses on Western rock music. The game reinvigorated the rhythm genre, which had stagnated because of the flood of DDR sequels and imitations. I had the Mario DDR. Guitar Hero spawned several sequels, and the franchise overall earned more than $1 billion, with the third installment making the best-selling game in North America in 2007. Harmonix followed Guitar Hero with the Rock Band franchise, which also earned over $1 billion. Rock Band titles support multiple instrument controllers and cooperative gameplay, allowing players to play as a full band. The Guitar Hero franchise followed suit with a band-oriented, Neversmith-developed Guitar Hero World Tour. I actually had Rock Band. However, my parents' cat, chewed up the cord for the drums. Also, I hated playing Guitar Hero and everything because people would just sit in and watch, and I hate being watched. Says the streamer. Guitar Hero installments based on specific bands such as Metallica and Aerosmith were also published. Additional songs for Guitar Hero and Rock Band were made for purchase via the internet, which generated further revenue. Artists whose work is featured in the games receive royalties, and the increased publicity in turn generates further sales in their music. The success of the Guitar Hero and Rock Band franchises widened the console video game market and its demographics, and the popularity of the genre drove increased sales of consoles. In 2008, it was reported that music games had become the second most popular video game genre, behind action, in the United States, with 53% of players being female. At its height in 2008, music games represented about 18% of the video game market. Video game industry analysts consider 2009 to be a critical year for rhythm games, and they believed it would allow them to gauge the future success of the genre. Both the Guitar Hero and Rock Band franchises were expanded, and they received entries for handheld gaming devices and mobile phones. Specialized titles that targeted specific genres and demographics, such as Band Hero for pop music and Lego Rock Band for younger players, were released. Sales of music games were down in the first half of the year. This decline was attributed to fewer purchases of instrument controllers. It was assumed that players had already bought such controllers and were simply just reusing them. While analysts had expected the United States sales of Guitar Hero 5 and the Beatles' Rock Band would be high, close to or exceeding 1 million units each in the first months of their release, sales were only about half of those projections. The failure to meet sales projections were partly attributed to the impact of the late 2000s recession of the video game industry. Harmonix's CEO, Alex Rigopoulos, considered that at the time both Rock Band and Guitar Hero were the most expensive video games on the market. Analysts also considered it to be a sign of market saturation. Further contributing to the decline was genre stagnation. The franchises retained the same basic gameplay over several iterations, giving consumers less incentive to buy additional titles. Harmonix's CEO, Alex Rigopoulos, felt that the aggressive competition between the Rock Band and Guitar Hero brands, on the belief that the market could only support one franchise, contributed to the decline of these games. As a result, analysts lowered their expectations for future music games. For example, projections of the first quarter sales for DJ Hero, which was a Guitar Hero spin-off, was reduced to 1.6 million unit, was reduced from 1.6 million to only 600,000. Sales of rhythm games, which totaled 1.47 billion in 2008, only reached 700 million in 2009. Analysts predicted that the market would settle at the same healthy 500 to 600 million level of the Call of Duty series. Wedbush securities analyst concluded that the saturation of the video game market accounted for 1/3 of the industry's 12% sales decline in 2009. The fallout of the weakening rhythm game market affected game developers, publishers, and distributors. Companies in the latter two categories believed that most consumers would own at least one set of instrument controllers by 2010, which would increase the importance of software and downloadable content sales. Activision scaled back its 2010 Guitar Hero release schedule to just 2 video games, reducing the number of SKUs from 25 in 2009 to 10 in 2010. The company closed several in-house developers, including Red Octane, Neversoft's Guitar Hero division, and Underground Development. Viacom, which had paid Harmonix $150 million following the success of Rock Band in 2007, began seeking a substantial refund on that investment after weak sales in 2009. Exactly, Emotive. The issue was not that it was super saturated, which, well, yes, super saturation would account for it. But yeah, they were pushing, everything was being pushed out so quickly that it killed all interest. And I understand Rock Band wanting to jump in immediately as soon as Guitar Hero was like out and everything. It's just like, if they had just waited a tiny bit for that saturation to hit and people would be like, well, I'm bored with Rock Band, or I'm bored with Guitar Hero, suddenly Rock Band comes out. But instead, it was just like, here's a brand new concept for Western players. You can play guitar alongside, and then almost like immediately after, you've got, hey, you can play the entire band. You've got nowhere to go from there. So, yeah. It's just, yeah, whatever. Anyway, Viacom also sought to negotiate new deals with music publishers to reduce the costs of the Rock Band series' licensed music. Ultimately, the company began to seek a buyer for Harmonix during the third quarter of 2010. In 2010, rhythm game developers included new features in their products. For example, Rock Band 3 and Power Gig Rise of the Sixth String support guitar controllers with strings, and both contain modes that teach players accurate fingering. Despite this new content, sales of music games faltered in 2010. Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock and DJ Hero 2 only sold 86,000 and 59,000 copies, respectively, in North America during their first week in the market. This was a sharp contrast to Guitar Hero 3, which had sold nearly 1.4 million units in its first week in 2008. Through October of 2010, music games achieved net sales of around 200 million, 1/5 of the game's revenue during the same period in 2008. Analysts believe that the market likely would not break the 400 million in revenue by the end of the year. End of the year sales were less than 300 million. By the end of 2010, the instrument controller-based rhythm market was considered well past its prime, and developers shifted their focus to DLC and potential integration with motion control sales systems. In late 2010, Viacom sold Harmonix to an investment-backed group and allowed it to continue developing Rock Band and Dance Central. Citing the downturn in rhythm games, Activision shuttered their Guitar Hero division in February 2011. Analysts suggested that the market for peripheral-based rhythm games may remain stagnant for 3 to 5 years, after which sales could resurge because of digital distribution models or the release of new video game consoles. However, by 2013, the era of peripheral-based music games was considered at an end, as Harmonix announced that it would cease regular updates of Rock Band DLC as the company shifted to newer games. Next up, rhythm games for young girls, 2004 to present. In Japanese amusement arcades, arcade-based collectible card games became popular. 2004, Sega released Oshare Meijo, Love and Berry, which was a fashion coordinate game with collectible card game and rhythm game elements. The Oshare Meijo was a big hit in Japan, and then the other game companies also entered into this game genre. So obviously, Sega had Oshare Meijo, Love and Berry, which was from 2004 to 2008, and Lil Pry from 2009 to 2011. Taito had Kira Kira Idol Rika-chan, 2006 to 2007. Atlas came out with Kira Rin Revolution Happy Idol Life, 2006 to 2009, and Gokujo Mecha Mote Incho Kuromote Girls Contest, 2009 to 2011. Tomy had One Entertainment Music Channel, 2006 to 2010. Pretty Rhythm, 2010 to 2014. Pre-Para, 2014 to 2017. Idle Time Pre-Para, 2017 to 2018. And Kyorato Pre-chan, 2018 to present. Bandai had Pretty Cure Data Card Ass Series, 2007-2017, and Aikatsu, 2012 to present, and Konami has Otokadol, 2015 to present. These games have only aimed at young girls. However, some of these games also hit some adults, which are often mentioned as Okina Otomodachi, or Big Friends. In 2016, as for Pre-Para, Tomy mentioned that when all users of the game are counted as its main target, instead of just 6 to 9-year-old Japanese girls, we succeed to expand the market scale as many as every one of the main targets. So basically, a majority of Pre-Para's players are not the 6 to 9-year-old Japanese girls. Anyway, Virtual Idol Rhythm Games, 2008 to present. Virtual Idol Rhythm Games grew in popularity in Japan out of 2 different media segments. One was the Idol Masters series of games developed by Bandai Namco Entertainment, first released as an arcade game in 2005. Initial games had players taking the role of a manager of rising stars, or idols, managing their schedules through minigames, which include performing auditions similar to rhythm game approach. The other direction game from the introduction of the virtual idol of Hatsune Miku by Krypton Future Media for its line of Vocaloid sound synthesis software in 2007. Using Vocaloid, software users could have Miku mimicking singing and dancing to the music created in Vocaloid. Many of these videos became popular on the Japanese media sharing site Nico Nico. The popularity of the Miku's videos led to other similar videos on other popular characters, including those out of the Idol Master series. The next Idol Master game, the Idol Master Live for You, in 2008, focused more on the performance minigames, which led for most remaining game of the series to Which led for most remaining games of the series to be virtual idol rhythm games. Similarly, as Krypton continued to expand on Miku and other virtual idols for Vocaloid, they expanded to licensing these idols for video games, collaborating with Sega to create the Hatsune Miku Project Diva, debuting in 2009. These games were initially mostly for consoles, but mobile game versions of these series appeared in 2012, such as Miku Flick and 2013's Idol Master Shiny Fiesta, and numerous mobile-based virtual idol rhythm games followed, such as Love Live and Bang Dream. Many of these games were freemium games based on existing anime or manga properties and typically included gacha-type mechanisms to be profitable. And then future directions, 2010 to present. With the introduction of motion controls for the Xbox 360, the Kinect, and the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Move in 2010-2011, some analysts stated that the rhythm market would resurge thanks to dance and band-based games that use platform-agnostic controllers. Dance games such as Just Dance, Dance Central, and Michael Jackson The Game were based on the new motion sensing technology. Industry pundits believe that because sales of peripheral-based music games are lagging and the popularity of pop music is surging, dance-based games will continue to thrive. Dance games such as Ubisoft's Just Dance and Harmonix's Dance Central boosted the rhythm game's late 2010 sales. The latter was the top-selling game for the Kinect in North America in November of 2010. Both games helped the genre increase its sales by 38% over November 2009, according to NPD. Harmonix is expected to post more than $100 million in profit for 2008, buoyed by sales of Dance Central and downloadable content for the game, according to Bloomberg. Just Dance overcame a poor critical reception to topple Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's bestseller status, while Just Dance 2 became the best-selling non-Nintendo game for the Wii. The Just Dance series competed with top action franchises for sales. Tap Tap Revenge, the first installment of the iPhone rhythm series Tap Tap, was the platform's most downloaded game in 2008. The Tap Tap franchise ultimately generated 15 million downloads and received a Guinness World Record as the most popular iPhone game series. Over the course of 2014, the phenomenon of indie games produced several variations of the genre. The game Jungle Rumble uses a mechanic where players drum on a touchscreen to control the game. Different rhythms correspond with different verbs to control entities in an RTS-like environment. The game Crypta the Necrodancer uses a mechanic where the player controls the main character in sync with the soundtrack's beat. Harmonix returned to its core rhythm games in 2014. In 2014, it successfully funded a Kickstarter to produce a remake of the PS2 title Amplitude for the PS3 and 4, with release expected in 2015. Further, in March 2015, the company announced Rock Band 4 to be released later in the same year, with plans to keep the game as a platform with continued free and paid updates and downloadable content. While refocusing on the core social and music enjoyment of the game, Activision also announced Guitar Hero Live, slated for late 2015, which rebuilds the game from the ground up, keeping the core mechanics but using a 3-button dual-position controller and using recorded footage of a rock concert taken from the lead guitarist's perspective to increase immersion. Guitar rhythm game industry is going for the VR market with games like Rocksmith and Rock Band VR. 2016 saw the release of Thumper, a self-styled rhythm violence game combining rhythm mechanics with an abstract horror theme and an original industrial soundtrack. Unusually, Thumper features a player character encountering notes as physical obstacles, rather than having the notes simply scroll off screen. Also in 2016, Konami returned to the Western arcade market with Dance Dance Revolution A after a successful location test. Additionally, Konami's new dancing-based rhythm game Dance Rush Stardom was also released to the Western market in 2018. And 2018, Beat Saber, a virtual reality rhythm game designed around cutting colored cubes in time with the song's beat, became the top-selling and highest-rating VR game on the Steam market at the time of its release. So I think they're ignoring something that has really kept Guitar Hero alive, and that would be Clone Hero, which in and of itself is a giant copyright copyright infringement lawsuit waiting to happen. But Clone Hero takes Guitar Hero 3, I believe, and allows players to mod it, modding in their own songs. Even create music videos to be played at the same time as they're playing. Basically, yeah, I mean, that's something that should not be discounted because it's definitely keeping it alive. And finally, the last thing for rhythm games is looking at the health and education. Rhythm games have been used for health purposes. For example, research has found that dancing games dramatically increase energy expenditure over that of a traditional video game. No shit. And that they burn more calories than walking on a treadmill. No shit. You're dancing. That's expending more energy than walking. That's the dumbest sentence I've read in a long time. Scientists have further suggested that, due to the large amount of children playing video games and watching television, games that involve physical activity can be used to combat obesity. No shit. Studies have found that playing Dance Dance Revolution can provide an aerobic workout in terms of a sufficiently intense heart rate, but not to the minimum levels of VO2 max. Based on successful preliminary studies, West Virginia, which has one of the highest rates of obesity and its attendant diseases in the U.S., introduced Dance Dance Revolution into the school's physical education classes. According to the New York Times, more than several hundred schools in at least 10 states have used DDR along with In the Groove in the curricula. Plans have been made to increase the number into the thousands in an effort to mitigate the country's obesity epidemic. Arnold Schwarzenegger, former governor of California, was a noted proponent of the game's use in schools. In Japan, celebrities reported losing weight after playing DDR, which drove sales of the game's home console version. Bimani's testers also found themselves losing weight while working on the game. There is further anecdotal evidence that these games aid weight loss, though the University of Michigan Health System has cautioned that dance games and other exercise games should only be a starting point towards traditional sports, which are more effective. Dance games have also been used in rehabilitation and fall prevention programs for elderly patients, using customized, slower versions of existing games and mats. Researchers have further experimented with prototypes of games allowing wider and more realistic stepping than the tapping actions found in commercial dance games. Guitar Hero games have been used alongside physical therapy to help recovering stroke patients because of the multiple limb coordination that the titles require. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University have used Guitar Hero 3 and its controller to help amputee patients and to develop new prosthetic limbs for patients. Researchers at the University of Nevada, Reno, modified a haptic feedback glove to work with the Guitar Hero freeware clone Frets on Fire, resulting in Blind Hero, a video game for musically impaired players that is played with only audio and touch. MIT students collaborated with the government of Singapore and a professor at the National University of Singapore to create Odyssey, a game which allows both blind and sighted gamers to play together. Guitar Hero was used as part of a Trent University youth sleep study, which showed that, in general, players who played a song were better at it 12 hours later if that period included normal sleep. Guitar Hero and Rock Band have introduced players to rock music and inspired them to learn how to play a real guitar. A study by Youth Music found that 2.5 million out of 12 million children in the UK have begun learning how to play real instruments after having played music video games such as Guitar Hero. The group believes that these video games can be incorporated into musical education programs. Guitar teachers in the U.S. have reported an increase in students who cite Guitar Hero as their inspiration to start learning. On the other hand, industry professionals such as the inventor of the Fretlight practice tool have expressed skepticism over the game's educational value. There's anecdotal evidence that Guitar Hero aids rhythm and general hand coordination, but also that it creates a false preconception of the difficulty of learning guitar, which can lead students to discontinue their studies. Guitar Center conducted a survey which found that a majority of instrument-based rhythm games intended to take up a real instrument in the future, while a majority of those who were already musicians had been inspired to play their instrument more. Despite such popularity, the guitar remains less popular than it was in the 1960s. Some musicians have been critical of Guitar Hero's impact on music education. Jack White of the White Stripes stated that he was disappointed to learn that video games are the most likely revenue where younger audience will be exposed to new works, while Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin does not believe that people can learn how to play real instruments from the video game counterparts. Similarly, Prince had turned down opportunities to have his music in the Guitar Hero series, stating that he felt it was more important that kids learn how to play an actual guitar. Other commentators have pointed to drum controllers, including the expanded lifelike drum rocker kit, used in such games as potentially useful in learning and creating music on real drums. I mean, so I can understand both arguments for that. Like saying, oh man, like Guitar Hero, that's not like playing the real guitar and everything, and it's actually much harder. Of course it is. Of course it is. It's a lot harder than just moving your fingers along 4 buttons and then strum up and down. And like people who go in thinking that's what it's like, we're never going to pick up guitar in the first place. They need to celebrate the fact that some people are learning that they like guitar, trying it out and finding that while it's difficult, they still want to do it. It's still bringing people to a guitar. It's bringing people to music. It's still introducing them to something they may never have touched. Right, but, well, anyway, that is the rhythm game, and with that, we have finished the action game genre, which means next week we're going to start the action-adventure games genre with the 2 subgenres of survival horror and Metroidvania. So you guys have that as something to look forward to. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining me on this adventure. I hope you all have been enjoying. And until the next time, everybody, stay funky, people.